Over the years, we have heard some crazy price predictions for XRP. This goes from, dollars to double-digit figures to even hundreds of dollars, even thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars. And, a lot of people just don't understand where XRP actually can go. Listen, long term, is the sky the limit? Yeah, sure. But if we are thinking about cycles and specifically this cycle, how high can XRP go this cycle? Well, that's a little bit of a different story. And everyone has their own prediction here. Even Standard Chartered, some major financial institutions as well, have been predicting where XRP can go. I think their prediction was like $12, like $12.50 by 2028. Everyone's guess is going to be different here. The main thing to actually focus on with XRP is just the environment around it, right? Currently speaking, in 2025, I think XRP has probably one of the most bullish environments surrounding it in the history of the actual altcoin. Which means if we think about the all-time chart and then we go all the way back to 2017, 2018 and how crazy this run was for XRP, this time around, it's even more bullish. Why? Well, because look at how many eyes are on XRP now. Think about all of the markets that have XRP listed. Think about all of the mainstream media attention that XRP now gets as well. Like, this is the third largest cryptocurrency, and it's one that is so, focused on at this point that we still have a SEC lawsuit that's almost on the cusp of ending at the same exact time that institutional adoption and awareness of XRP is growing tremendously too. Like, the environment around XRP is probably more bullish than ever before. And it's one of the most bullish crypto altcoins in this market as well. But still, where can XRP go this cycle? And with 1,000 XRP currently being valued at $3,255, what could 1,000 XRP be worth by the end of this cycle? Well, let's take a quick look at a few things. Number one, let's just look at the macro chart here for XRP, because this chart, and I'm on the monthly chart right now. This is the 1 month chart. The 1 month chart for XRP looks pristine. This is the cleanest looking chart I've seen in this market in a very long time. One altcoin that looks similar to this is like QNT, but it's on a little bit of a different time frame. I would say that this is where QNT kind of is, where it's just kind of chopping sideways, waiting for that big move to the upside. But outside of that, XRP's chart is so clean, and everyone is trying to guess exactly what happens next. Where are we? Are we in this phase of XRP where, we're just kind of brewing here and we're starting that uptrend, right? Is that exactly where we were back here as well, where the month was just insane for, XRP? Well, we're coming to an end on this month. So are we, at this point for XRP, or are we at this point? I don't think that we can pinpoint exactly where we are at now, going back to other cycles. I don't even think that that is a good thing to do. I think that this is a little bit different in terms of price action. I think that we will look completely different compared to previous cycles as well when it comes to XRP this cycle. But when we look at this chart, why is XRP so bullish right now? Well, number one, we are still fighting this candle wick back in 2018, the all-time high. Now, we only have one other target on this chart to actually look at, and I could put it on the board real quick, and that's $3.84. Now, I know that everyone's opinion on this $3.84 target is completely different. Some people say it's a fake target. Nobody was able to buy, sell, or trade at that target. It was a glitch on a Korean exchange, blah, blah, blah. I get it. I understand it. But still, market makers will utilize this target to the best of their advantage. When we think about $3.84, we need to clear this level. We need to break over it. And I think that that's when the price action on XRP gets extremely violent. For an example, if we are going off of this price target back in 2013, 2014, and what happened in 2017 once we broke over it, well, we went crazy. Okay? And this is the only time that you'll see me use a bars graph. The price action from the point where we actually break over $3.84 could look something like this. I'm not saying that we're going to break to $50 or anything like that, but I do think on a shallower, time frame, something like this, or sorry, not time frame, on a shallower metric, it would look like this, where we hit like $15 on this time frame. This would be the most ideal outcome for XRP holders, obviously. But it would also be something that kind of mimics that price action from 2017, 2018. But this is how violent the price action will get once we break $3.84. It's the price discovery part of altcoins that's where we get that very exciting price action. Okay, and we have yet to see this in action on XRP since 2017. So that's why this time right now is so exciting for XRP, and why so many people are very bullish on XRP and excited for what happens next. But the question is, how high do we go here, right? Are we just thinking about, like a $15 XRP, or are we thinking $20 to $30, or potentially even higher to like, $50? Well, just going off of what a few other people have said when it comes to XRP and what their price predictions are, we're going to kind of gauge where we think XRP can go. So let's actually first start off with how close we are to altcoins like XRP going insane. I believe that we are in phase 2 right now, which is the Ethereum phase of the market. This is where we start to actually look at altcoins, because just like Bitcoin pumped, just like Ethereum will pump, altcoins will follow through as well, which means XRP and the rest of the altcoin market should be next after Ethereum goes on its massive tear. Which means although XRP already had a great run up, it could lead to XRP having a massive push even higher from this point. It's also at a time where, like I said, the SEC, we're still waiting on the SEC to drop their appeal. We have yet to actually get an update from back in June. It's been over a month now. We're still waiting on the SEC because this case is practically done. Ripple already dropped their cross appeal. We're waiting on the SEC to drop theirs. This is also at a time where we have so many XRP ETF filings that have yet to get approved, which will also be a huge catalyst. And also so many companies setting up XRP trust reserves. In fact, there's 10 companies officially that have an XRP trust reserve already set up, and treasury reserves. It's also at a time where the EVM sidechain just went live. There's already 1,300 plus smart contracts deployed, 17,000 plus addresses participating, and 160 plus tokens already launched. All of this is just catalyst for XRP to push even higher. Now, I'm going to go over what I said multiple times, right? We have the 2017-2018 target. We need to break that $3.84 target. After that, minimum bull target zone, 5 to 7. This is what we should see regardless of, any sort of major catalyst, whatever. The main bull target zone is $7 to $10. So 1,000 XRP should be worth at least $7,000 to $10,000. Then we have the extreme target zone, where all the catalysts align, $10 to $15. Now you might be saying, well, Nick, that's pretty low, right? And I understand. And I'm saying that, we could go much higher than that. I'm being very conservative here, okay? We just take profits on the way up, keep the moon bag for any crazy targets that hit after, okay? Obviously, you do not need to follow my targets at all. You can have your own plan in place. That's fine, okay? But this is what I'm going off of. Now, others have their own ideas here. For an example, here we have from Galaxy Bitcoin. This is a Bitcoin account that's now looking into XRP. We have time to look at XRP. Just a few days ago, we broke all-time highs, and now we are testing the support. Next time it breaks $3.30, the real party starts. And that's because we're so close to having a much larger breakout that's historical that should take XRP to those crazy historical highs that have been talked about for years. Some individuals are calling for, $30, $20. This is actually X-Force Global. We have an 18% pullback after a 126% move, yet people still have the audacity to call it the beginning of a bear market. Pro tip, the trend is your friend. Remember, we've seen 50% plus moves before seeing explosive 5x moves in a bull market. Now, this chart is showing us the wave 5 structure. This is the Elliott wave theory, okay? So technically speaking, we should be headed to the wave 3, all right? That wave 3 on this chart is around $10 to $12 roughly. The wave 4 should take us back down to like almost like $5 or $6. And then the wave 5, they're calling for about $22, almost $30 on XRP. This is not the first time that I've heard about $20 to $30 on XRP. In fact, Credible Crypto made a post back in March, actually. And this was comparing Bitcoin and even XRP. Bitcoin's wave 5 target somewhere between 150 to 175K. I think that that's, very, very possible, especially at a time where, we're hearing some crazy targets getting tossed around. But then his XRP target is like $28, almost $30. That means 1,000 XRP could be worth anywhere between $20,000 to $30,000. Again, this goes with almost, there's so many major analysts in this market that are also expecting the same thing. I mean, it makes sense, right? I'm not saying that it's not possible. I'm just saying I'm being very conservative just for the risk side of the market. But if we're thinking about the catalyst here for XRP is now starting to see a ton of RWA value added to it. It's up about 13% in the last 30 days. Stablecoins are flooding onto the XRP ledger. I know it says 2 here, but we technically have about 7 that have yet to actually hit the XRP ledger, or at least another 5. And this is also at a time, like I said, that the EVM sidechain just launched. We're seeing so many companies looking at reserves and trust for XRP. We also have, we have Trump's Truth Social applying for an ETF that's not even on here. So all of these ETFs, all of these trust, all of the, tokenization and the stablecoin side, the EVM sidechain, and then also the SEC lawsuit, if all of this aligns perfectly here and XRP goes into price discovery, again, the sky's the limit. We don't know how high XRP can go here. I think, though, a safe bet on what 1,000 XRP will be worth by the end of this cycle would be between $10,000 to $20,000. So the range in which we are looking at just off of this chart alone, okay, and let me just make sure that you guys have it perfectly on this chart. This is what we would be looking at. That blue range being targeted this cycle. So we break to the upside and something like this happens. I'm not saying that we do this perfectly. I'm just saying this would be, in my opinion, a safe bet for XRP. It's still pretty conservative. Again, it's the $10 to $20 range. But again, we've been consolidating for how long, right? The last all-time high on this chart was back here in 2017. Guys, we have been consolidating for 2,700 plus days. So the fact that we are now getting this price action, the time, for XRP to really show up is now. And to make up for all of that lost time, this chart could go absolutely insane. It can go insane. Mainstream media attention, retail focus, institutional focus, even enterprise focus is on XRP in a huge way this time around. Even back in the handicap market, and this is what we typically call it, right? XRP still performed very well. But again, the SEC made sure that XRP was not going to have a historical bull run, but we still did a 1,600% push, getting delisted from all major exchanges. It had a terrible aura around XRP, saying that it was a security, that you shouldn't even touch it, but we still performed insanely well. This time around, so far off of the lows, we did a 1,200% push. A 1,600, just to kind of repeat that push, would be about a $4.92 XRP, which is why I have the minimum target set over here at about, $5 to $7. I think that that's a pretty fair assessment. That's just a very conservative assessment as well. 7 to 10, again, is still, possible. It's still right around that blue range. And then the extreme target zone is $10 to $15, which is right around the $20 range anyways. So XRP, I think that $1,000, $10,000 to $20,000 by the end of this cycle. Obviously, we'll circle back, see how things go, but XRP is probably one of the most bullish altcoins in this market right now. And it should perform, just like it is. So With that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys definitely like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, this has been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.